Hey y'all, this is my digital painting of balconies. I haven't really ever done a landscape. I maybe did a few, but I usually only paint people. So this is me just kind of doing like trial and error throughout the whole painting. I know the basic concepts of first the bigger shapes and then the shadows and the tones should be correct, whether it's like dark or light. And then I know I can go in with detail after that. So I kind of have an idea of how to construct the painting. So I just started out with the walls and the arc right there. And then I'm going in with, and I did the basic shape of the castle in the back. Then I went in and did the two windows that are the closest to the viewer and put in the balcony, put in some blinds. Sorry if it looks like it just added on a bunch of plants because I forgot to record that part. But yeah, I have a balcony, put in the door frame and some shadowing on that, and just trying to give like every corner of the wall some dirt because that's how it is. Oh, and then I tried to go in with the liquefied tool right here and change it up, but it just wasn't looking good. The liquefied tool is like pretty hard, honestly, for me at least. I'd rather just repaint over something if I don't really like it. It's me adding more details, and then I start the gutter. I think it's like a gutter back there. Um, Getting more shading on the wall, so it looks like these are actually sitting here because everything is gonna have shadows. Getting some more details, some more lighting on the rail, so it looks like metal. Putting the roof in, and then these little, I don't even know what they're called. It looked trash. It was so trash. I ended up redoing all of that because I just rushed it and I was getting kind of over it at this point. I don't know. I had been painting for a long time. Also, this whole area, I ended up redoing that all over again as well because, like, what? I just put in an extra pipe right there for no reason. That makes no sense. Yeah, that's the arc. I'm creating the arc and the walkway. And the arc is like a little tilted, but I was just like, whatever. It doesn't have to be perfect. Putting these plants, I really like how that plant in the front turned out. I like the shape of it. And I think the colors, I think I really could have worked on the colors more for all of the plants, but I really like the shape. That's good. Little bucket, more shadows. There was actually a second balcony right there, as you can see in the picture, but I was honestly just too lazy to put it in. I already spent so much time on the first balcony that I was like, I don't really need it. But I did keep the shadows from it. So maybe like you could imagine that there's another balcony out of view. Then I have the other window frame. Um, and doing some more plants. I kind of just did whatever for the plants. I didn't really follow the picture too much because my drawing isn't as isn't the same, so I kind of like made up for it by adding more plants in places that I felt like needed it. And I moved the arc up because I noticed it was too low. I started painting this lantern. I actually end up re-going in and painting a whole nother lantern because this one is just way too big. Um, Now I'm drawing the people, getting kind of a layout of the placement of them, and then the walkway down there, which I really should have done this all in the beginning. Is what I usually do is draw a layout of the whole painting, but I was just like, F it, and I just went in and immediately started doing detail, which is not what you want to do. Yeah, I realized there was a wall right there behind the bars, so I just added the wall in next to the blinds and then redid the bars again. Made it all skinnier. And I never erase because I'm doing this all in one layer, so if I need to like erase something, I just take the color that's next to it, so like the color of the wall, and I filled in more of the wall, so it was kind of like erasing it. These these cords are here. I've never done, what are those, like electrical cords? I've never done that, but I really like how they turned out. I feel like they look pretty real. Like you can tell what they are. Some more details on the plants. I love that plant. That's beautiful. It's gorgeous. More shadows because everything's got them shadows in there. And yeah, I think like this is me redoing it again, and then I end up redoing it again because it just looks like trash. Like, what is that? It looks like little charred pieces of corn. That cable in there looking all nice and electrical. I realized that there was more cables on the other wall on the right side, but I didn't really realize until I was done, and I'm like, don't really feel like putting that in. It's not really necessary. Another plant. These plants really look like they're just floating on air. That ugly lantern. I feel like everything was looking too gray, so I ended up making the walls a darker, like a more pink color. And I think I ended up making that second arc a more pink color too, because I just, even though it is gray in the picture, it wasn't aesthetically pleasing to have like all the walls and the arc and everything gray. It, it lacked color. This is me working on the lantern that I'm just gonna get rid of. I really like how those cables look right there in the center. I feel like it looks like really real. And it was just easy. I just, one quick sweep. I hate how this sign looks. I redid this sign like 4 or 5 times. Honestly, I think I should have just taken it out, but I don't know. I think it added a little nice pop of color, so I left it in there. But the painting really could have done without it. Didn't really need it. Adding more lanterns all in here. I'm kind of just guessing. I'm not trying to follow the painting exactly. I'm just thinking, okay, if the wall is going in this motion, then maybe the lantern, maybe the what are those called? Maybe the vases will be right here. I didn't want it to be exact. I'm really not trying to go for a realistic painting. I kind of overwork everything, and then I'm a perfectionist, and I just get a whole bunch of detail in there, so it ends up being more realistic than I intended. But I mean, it still obviously looks like a painting, so it doesn't look like too realistic, which is fine by me. But I really want to learn to get like more loose, like kind of like how the plants are. They look really loose, they look blurry. I like that. It's kind of like your eyes have to make the detail that's not there. So that's something I want to practice on. See, I just took out that lantern, made the arc a little bit bigger. The arc really should have been bigger in general, because compared to the size of the other arc, it's like double the size, and I just didn't really have enough room because the picture I'm going off of is like very vertical and skinny, and then this canvas that I'm working on right here is not as long, so I was squishing it into a shorter space. Then this, I couldn't really see what was going on the wall. It was really hard to figure that out. You kind of have to like not take it in so exact and be like, well, what could that be? What is that? And then just kind of construct it from that. Like right here, I knew that there is a wall right here, obviously. That's where the balcony has to come out of. So I kind of had to like imagine that wall and construct the objects on top of it. I almost left this castle like this, just without detail, because I kind of liked it. And I honestly kind of wish that I would have just left it without detail, because I don't know if I really like how it turned out. And then that's me going in and kind of actually trying to figure out what's going on right there. There's kind of like some bricks, I think, underneath those little rocks. And then I have the gutter that goes to the drain pipe. And I don't know what that little black thing in the back is. I don't think it's another drain pipe, so I didn't do it as like boxy. I think it might be like a cable or something. And this, I still don't like how this turned out, but it is honestly, when something is like boring to me, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. If it's interesting, it's got an interesting shape, interesting color concept, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna work the fuck out of this. But that was just such like a non-important part of the painting that I didn't really care how it turned out. And then this, I guess it's like some bars of another balcony, but I kind of like how it looked kind of like a window right there, like a reflection maybe. So I just kind of left it like that. Adding more details to the castle, to these roofs right here. I thought the sky was a little too like one color, so I made it kind of like glow. Um, okay, here's the final lantern that I'm putting in with like pretty much the correct size. I don't know why I did it all tilted like that, but I noticed it and I was like, whatever, it's fine that it's tilted. I don't really care. It really just doesn't have to be perfect as long as you get the idea, you know? Putting in another balcony right here. Now, this was another one I was like, what is going on? It's not the same as the other balcony, so I was a little confused trying to fit that in that little space right there. And then I'm adding the shadows because you have to have shadows. It's what makes it look real. Even if you're painting an unrealistic painting, you need shadows. It just makes it more cohesive and not like it's just like 2D or something. It makes it look more 3D, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not a professional. I learned everything on YouTube, so don't trust me. Putting another window over here. I didn't really care about the shape of the window because I wanted it to look like it was kind of like old and maybe deteriorating, and so the shape wasn't perfect. And then I'm doing these little bricks over here, creating another wall, so it creates what are they called? I don't know. Another area, another window, the little church in the background. I put in another planter in here that's hanging on the air again. Really, how are those plants just right there? What are they sitting on? I'm just adding more depth, defining everything. And now that lantern that's all the way on the right, that one should be the biggest because it is the closest to the viewer. So I went in and made those other ones, the other pots smaller. Oh yeah, I got rid of that sign because that was just horrendous. But then I put it in again, and I don't know why. I should have just got rid of it completely, but it didn't come out looking that bad. Those plants, trying to get the colors right. The only thing I didn't really like about this painting is the overall look was very cool tones, like very blue and green, and I feel like it needed some contrast, which the castle does give it some contrast, so it might look okay in the end, but I was kind of struggling with the color, getting the colors to be intriguing instead of just them being all like gray toned. I didn't really know what that was right there. I think it's an entryway to a door. See, I made those pots smaller because if they're farther away, they need to be smaller. And of course, I have to add shadow. I didn't realize any of that has shadow. They all need shadow because there's a light coming from the left. So they're going to have all shadow on the right side. Adding some more details on the walls so it doesn't just look so perfect because no wall in the universe is perfect like that. Fixing this wall. I really don't like how this wall on the right side turned out. It was kind of a struggle, honestly. I was trying to keep the original colors that were in there. You see like the purple that's like from the under layer. I wanted it to look different and not so perfect. I hate when paintings look perfect. I need some more. Gotta have some light on the front of the flower because there's a light right in front of that flower. I mean, the leaves. And same with these. I'm going to have light on the top of them because the light is the closest to the top part of those leaves. So I just need more shading on the bottom and the inside in between the leaves that's not really getting light. And then more lighter leaves on top that's closest to the light. I really like how these little flower and leaves turned out right here. It's really cute. Yeah, and I did the shadow really defined on this one because that's how it is in the picture, but also it is the closest to the viewer, so the closer the objects are, the more definition they have. Did like a cobblestone walkway, which makes me think this is like somewhere in Italy or Spain because they have cobblestones everywhere. Oh my gosh, everywhere. And I only really noticed that they have it everywhere because when I went to Spain and Italy, I was skating everywhere, and it's really hard to skate on cobblestone if you have hard wheels. Oh my gosh. If you're going to skate there, get some soft wheels. Put this lady up in here. She's looking cool. She's looking all right. I need to watch a video on YouTube of how to draw clothing because I don't think I'm that good at clothing. I kind of just winged it. Also, I didn't really know what to do for hair. I couldn't really understand why the highlights were where they are. So I kind of just added some extra colors in there for just to make them stand out because they are the closest to the camera. So I want to give them the most like weird colors, the most like I guess I want your eye to be attracted to the people first. Even though the people originally is not why I picked this picture. I picked it because I liked all the plants. But they are technically the closest to the camera besides that plant in the front. So I feel like they needed some defining colors. And also, I just didn't want them to look boring. I was really trying to get her skin tone to not look like just gray and beige. I wanted to add some like different colors in there so it just wasn't boring, you know? Who just wants some gray skin tone? And then this dude, he was like pretty boring looking too. Um, the picture it makes his neck look like all elongated because they're walking. So I just made it look normal and tried to have like a motion blur behind him. So it still looked like he was walking, but not that he had like a freaking giraffe neck. And I also was gonna do it like the picture and make him bald. And I was like, that just doesn't really look right. So I just gave him a full head of hair and added some funky colors on it because, you know, why be boring? Why give him brown hair? Love brown hair. Brown hair is beautiful, but I needed some colors in there. And then I really like the color that his shirt came out, but my husband said that they were looking like too colorful and they didn't really blend with the rest of the painting, which was kind of true. So I ended up putting like a gray on top of both of them just to like lighten them up a little bit and have them blend in with the painting a little bit more. I didn't want anything to be too defined. Cause I really like motion blurs and like just like I kind of like blurry paintings where you kind of have to like guess the details. It just looks more artsy to me. I really like that style. I'm putting some highlights on the wall from where the light is reflecting. The light is also reflecting off the inside corners of that window. So I defined that a little bit, added some more dirt on the floor because that it has to look dirty. People be walking on it. Oh my gosh, this castle. I honestly wish I kind of just left it like not really detailed or maybe just did a few details, but I went all in. Did the whole thing. Don't really know if I like how it turned out. I do like that bell though. That's cute. And I like the light behind the bells. That's a beautiful color. But the rest of the castle, oh my gosh, it's straight out the garbage. But it's okay. You know, I have never done a city scene like this. This is my first city scene or like any scene really. I usually just do people and then maybe I'll do like some plants behind them, but this is my first scene that I'm really painted the whole painting of like buildings and structures and just a whole bunch of stuff going on. So for my first go at something like this where it's really cluttered and has a lot of stuff, I think it turned out pretty cool. But the one thing I really struggled with the castle was the colors. It had a lot of similar colors and I didn't want it to look all bland and like it was just all one color. So I was trying to switch them up and then it didn't look cohesive. So I really struggled with finding the right colors for the castle and then also not having it look weird with the painting. I couldn't really do the same colors as the picture because you just have to have it look aesthetically pleasing for the whole painting overall because I didn't do the colors exact in any part of the painting. So I really like how that light color turned out as well. That's a beautiful color. It really looks like light to me. So I think that came out good. But the rest of this castle is just kind of a wreck. But I mean, it's okay. And I couldn't really tell what was going on right there, and I had to really study this castle for like 5 minutes to understand what was going on. It was just a lot of architecture, a lot of detail going on, and I had to figure out what I was gonna keep and what I was gonna drop because I couldn't have it exactly the same. It was just gonna be too weird, and I also didn't want to spend that much time, so I kind of just took creative liberty and put stuff in there that I wanted to. I also put something like those orange spots. This was supposed to be like lights. I put that in there just because I thought that would look cool. And just kind of, made it my own. And just defining the edge. I don't really know if I like this yellow color that I chose, but I don't know. I was really struggling a lot with the color, y'all. That shit's really hard. Like really hard. Over here again with that color, it wasn't blending, and then I realized that really the problem was it just looked too fake and it just needed to look dirty. Like it needed to look like it had texture on it or like wear and tear, it needed to look alive. And it was just looking really like children's coloring book right now. So I think once I added in like the like texture on top, I guess I looked better, which I don't think I recorded. It'll just be in the final. I just did the final details, which you'll see at the end. And that's it. That's my painting. If you want to see it on Instagram, that will be in the description. And give me a comment if you like it, or maybe if you have some tips, help me out, please. Yeah.